Congratulations. For the International Chamber of Commerce Global Excellence Award is given to individuals who have prominently figured nationally and internationally, making our country proud in view of their excellence in their respective field of business and by advocating for the development of MSMEs and aspiring businessmen. To co-present the award are His Excellency Ambassador Zhao Jinhua, Embassy of the People's Republic of China to the Philippines, and Miss Li Ju-song, Executive Director, International Chamber of Commerce Regional Office, Asia. Receiving the award are Mr. Carlos S. Chan, Chairman of Liwayway Marketing Corporation. Thank you, Mr. Carlos S. Chan. The next awardee is the Honorary Chairman and COO of PCCI, and Mr. Donald G. D. Thank you and congratulations, Ambassador Donald D. The third awardee is the Vice Chairperson of the Board of SM Investments Corporation and dubbed as the most powerful businesswoman in Asia, no other than Ms. Teresita T.C. Coson. Thank you and congratulations to the awardees for the Global Excellence Award of the International Chamber of Commerce, Philippines. Now we proceed to the most business-friendly Local Government Unit Award. Our next award, the most business-friendly Local Government Unit Award, is PCCI's initiative to complement the efforts of the government to streamline procedures in compliance with the Red Tape Act. It aims to recognize and promote models of governance of LGUs that have shown outstanding efforts in instituting good governance and competitiveness in their respective areas. To co-present the award is Mr. Sammy Lim, PBC Awards Committee Chair. The awardees are Bohol for Provincial Level 1, to be received by Governor Edgar M. Chato of Bohol, with donor Mr. George Barcelon, President of Integrated Computer Systems, and Vice Governor Benji Alcamo. Thank you. The next awardee is Muntinlupa City for City Level 1, to be received by Mayor Jaime R. Fresnedi of Muntinlupa City, together with him, our engineer Alan Casuela, City Administrator, and Mr. Gary Lamas, Head of Business Permit and Licensing Office, with donor Mr. Alfredo Yao, President of CESTO. Thank you. For City Level 2 award goes to Tagum City, Davao del Norte. The award will be received by Mayor Alan L. Relion of Tagum City, Davao del Norte, with the donor Dr. Francis Chua, Chairman of BA Securities. Thank you. For City Level 3, awardee is Vegan City, Ilocos Sur. The award will be received by Mayor Juan Carlo S. Medina of Vegan City, Ilocos Sur, with donor Mr. Henry Lim Bonlyong, Chairman of the Sterling Paper Products. And the last most business-friendly LGU awardee is Thank you. The last most business-friendly LGU awardee is Calaca, Batangas for Municipality Level 1. And receiving the award is Mayor Sofronio Manuel C. Ona of Calaca, Batangas, with donor Mr. Joseph C., Chairman and CEO of Global Ferronickel Holdings Incorporated. Congratulations to all the awardees, and thank you to our donors. For the rest of the presenters, please remain on stage for the last batch of awards, the Most Outstanding Chamber Awards. Here, we recognize the local chamber whose leadership and dynamism contributed to business growth and development of the community. It serves through its advocacy initiatives and programs targeted to promote trade and investment. To our area vice presidents, Engineer Alfonso Lau, North Luzon, Mr. Jeremy Law, South Luzon, Mr. Danilo Sanchez, the National Capital Region, Mr. Joe Nang, Visayas, and Mr. Antonio Uy, Mindanao, and co-presenter Engineer Ramon Escueta. For the most outstanding young chamber, provincial level, our winner is Dinagat Island Chamber of Commerce Industry. To receive the award, we have the President of Dinagat Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Mr. Lionel Rojo. And for the city level, our winner is PCCI Puerto Princesa. The award will be received by President of PCCI Puerto Princesa, Ms. Annabel Ong. Thank you and congratulations. For the National Capital Region, we have PCCI Parañaque. Receiving the award is Ms. Lolita Duria, President of PCCI Parañaque. For North Luzon City Level 1, winner is Metro Angeles Chamber of Commerce and Industry, to be received by Mr. Arsenio Valdez, President, Metro Angeles Chamber of Commerce and Industry. For South Luzon City Level 1, we have PCCI San Pablo City. To receive the award, we have the President of PCCI San Pablo City, Mr. Rolando de la Cruz. For South Luzon Provincial Level 1, our winner is PCCI Batangas Province. To receive the award, we have the President of PCCI Batangas Province, Mr. Carlo Mendoza. For the most outstanding chamber per area for Visayas City, Level 1, is Ormoc City Chamber of Commerce. To receive the award, we have the President of Ormoc City, Mr. Jude Abenoa. And the last awardee for the most outstanding chamber per area goes to Surigao Chamber of Commerce and Industry. To receive the award, may we call on President of Surigao CCI, Ms. Concepcion Paqueo. Congratulations to our winners. For the last set of awards for our national winners, the most outstanding chamber in the Philippines provincial level and Hall of Fame awardee is Negros Oriental Chamber of Commerce and Industry. To receive the award, we have Mr. Eduardo Du, President of Negros Oriental Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Most outstanding chamber in the Philippines city level and Hall of Fame awardee is Davao City Chamber of Commerce and Industry. To receive the award, we have the President of Davao City Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Captain Ronaldo Go. And last but not the least, this year's PCCI National Excellence Award is awarded to the three-time Hall of Fame awardee, Cebu Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Receiving the award is Ms. Melanie Nang, President of Cebu Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Thank you, Mr. President, presenters and co-presenters, and congratulations to all our awardees. May we request everybody to sit down. To present the 43rd Philippine Business Conference resolutions, may I call on the 43rd PBC Chairman, Mr. Jose P. Leviste Jr.
President Rodrigo Roa Duterte, sir. Delegates and guests to the 43rd Philippine Business Conference and Exposition, friends, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. On behalf of the more than 35,000 member enterprises of the PCCI, 130 local chambers, 110 industry associations, and 30 bilateral business councils. And as the voice of Philippine business, I have the honor to respectfully present to you, our beloved President, the 43rd Philippine Business Conference resolutions. These resolutions are the product of tedious and extensive consultations leading to this national conference. In Lucena City for South Luzon on 12 and 13 May. In Manila on July 27 to 28 for the National Capital Region. In Subic, Zambales for Northern Luzon on 18 and 19 August. In Cagayan de Oro for September 6 to 9 in Mindanao. which the President graciously honored with his presence, and in Cebu City in September 28 to 29 for the Visayas. Under the banner of giant steps, taking the leap forward, these resolutions mainstream PCCI's commitment to provide meaningful support to the country's visions and aspirations for a matatag, maginhawa, at panatag na buhay. They complement your 10-point action agenda, Mr. President, through their espousal of a strong, sustained, inclusive growth, nurturing wealthy regions, cities and municipalities, while embracing lagging regions, cities and municipalities. In sum, our resolutions propose specific policies and programs aimed at, number one, lowering the cost and improving doing business in the country. Number two, spurring countryside development. Number three, expanding trade and economic development. Number four, promoting human resource development. These resolutions articulate our willingness to cooperate and contribute to the expansion of business and increase of investments to create jobs and income for the Filipino people, for the country, in partnership with your government. Prayerfully, from the sum of all our actions shall raise Asia's flying eagle, the Philippines, so our country can soar on the Asian skies like the great Philippine eagle domiciled in Davao. Daghang salamat at mabuhay po kayong lahat. Salamat po.
Thank you, the Chairman of the 43rd PBC Chair, Expo, Mr. Jose P. Leviste Jr. At this juncture, allow me to call our Honorable Secretary of the Department of Trade and Industry, Secretary Ramon Lopez, to introduce our guest of honor and speaker.
Ladies and gentlemen, our beloved President of the Republic of the Philippines, with more than 80% satisfaction rating, Mayor Rodrigo Roa Duterte.
Salamat po. Kindly sit down. Thank you for the courtesy. I count the pages vis-a-vis with the important or the insignificant event. This definitely is a very significant event for your all. I mean, it is a representative crowd of all the economic people of the Philippines. But tatlong pages lang eh. Magkakahiya naman sa inyo. And, with such topic as economy, there ought to be more, and one from the heart sa inyong utusan, a worker of government. I do not call yung mga kasama ko sa gobyerno as officials. I just say that we are all workers of government. And I do not use the word Malacanang. I just use the office of the President. Hindi naman talaga palasyo yan eh. Not in the sense of the word. Kahoy lang yan at luma na. Excellencies of the Diplomatic Corps, Trade Secretary Ramon Lopez, and other members of the Cabinet, Mr. George Barcelon, President, Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry, PCCI, Board of Directors, Officers, and Local Chambers, mga kasama ko sa gobyerno, mga kababayan. I will just read a portion of the speech because actually I said in about 2 minutes we will go home. I assume that you have had dinner yet, but I have so many things to say to you tonight. One is that when I was campaigning for the presidency, and even during the presidential debates, I was the first to finish. We were only given a minute and a half, and I knew that it was sorely lacking of this space for which we are about to talk about the country. So I reduced it to a bullet form, and I said, if elected president, one is I will do away with graft and corruption in government. Second is that our country is being sieged by flooded with drugs. And third is that I would try to talk to the enemies of the state if I can and strike a deal with the so many fronts. And then I would be referring to the Communist Party of the Philippines and the rebellion that they have so far almost 50 years in the making. And I thought that it would be time to stop it, or we fight for another 50 years. Second is the drug problem. During the time of President Arroyo, General Santiago, who headed the PDEA, the Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency, came up with a figure of 3 million. And when I became president, you saw the hundreds of thousands surrendering every day to the authorities. And we counted, in my term, for the first year, something like 1,300,000. It was a very serious problem, and a lot of, you should know, crimes are committed on the streets every day in the name of drugs, the need for a fix. And the problem is, as I have been telling you, the market of shabu is not the Filipino people. It is the poor Filipino people. The rich ones, they don't bother or tinker with shabu, because shabu, over time, shrinks the brain of a person. I was one of the very first local government employee who constructed the first rehab in Mindanao, and it was about 30 years ago. But to my sorrow, the realization that about this slide, almost in a rate of 1 to 10, only 2 succeeds. And that would be an exception, really. 8 would definitely go back. Because unlike poppy, it's an organic thing, and the Americans are busy with cocaine and heroin. It causes, but over a period, a longer period. Unlike shabu, in 3 to 6 months of continuous use, it shrinks the brain of a person. And that's why I have so many killings. The latest one was a husband who decapitated his wife and shouted, "Pinatay ko na si Duterte. I have killed Duterte." And the other one was really actually a rape case. It's but you know, in deference to, not to anybody, but to you, I only answer to the Filipino people, nobody else. So I said that if it is that sad, by the human rights articulating the death of everybody, I said, well, I ordered the armed forces and the military to withdraw, including the police. And I gave the power solely to one agency, the Philippine Enforcement Drug Agency. Kayo lang, and that has been a very long time ago. I let go of I said, I will not supervise anything there. You do your job because the law mandates that you are the lead agency. I don't know if they will succeed because in the previous months I utilized everybody and yet we still have the problem. I am saying this because when I became mayor of Davao City, I aired my sentiment to the people that there can be no peace in this city until there is law and order. And I told the businessmen there, and some of you are here, and I told you, I will take care to attain peace, take care of the economy. And I was referring that to Chito Ayala while he was still alive in a gathering in his house. That is my article of faith, that unless we are really freed of the so many crimes and so many movements, rebellions, the Philippines would always be in a struggle. I have to deal with the Communist Party of the Philippines. It was the New People's Army. They are armed and they are ambushing, and you read it in the newspapers every day, that aside from the Marawi siege, I'm losing about almost every 10 to 15 either military or policemen today. During the campaign against drug, I lost about 156 soldiers and about 92 policemen. Why? Because in Mindanao, if you want to raid a certain shabu factory, the police cannot do it alone because they would be facing bazooka or M60. You have to bring in the military. And that is what happened in Marawi. Time and again, I told you, the Filipino people, the rebellion, the ISIS is coming in, and it is funded by Shabu. So the last time you saw the tunnels around the building, around everywhere, there were tunnels in buildings. Those were the merchandise. Just before the onslaught, because there was a siege, they were able to save the drugs. I don't know where they are now. But as I've been telling you, it was fueling the ISIS sentiment. The siege of Marawi was purely ISIS. And that was why I had to declare martial law. And I said, we have to finish this or we go kaput. Then I would give you the same maybe advice that as the military has been mouthing it and the police several times, that be careful of retaliation. We know and I know that it's coming. Where, I really do not know. But somehow they would do it in places where the dominant tribes. I have nothing against the Moro. I have nothing against the revolutionaries in this house. I do not hate them. But I mean, I do not want to tinker with religion because it never has been, it is not now. But with the coming of the ISIS, they're using it as a vehicle when actually it was a matter or issue of territory. Remember, I would like to have to repeat this because it's still the headlines of the day. And once in a while, I get investigated from just anywhere. NGOs of other countries going here and talking to the Reds, the Communists, and the opposite party. The liberals who cannot accept defeat, and that is the problem. So, I have to answer the charges because the people would be interested. Now, I said before, there are millions already afflicted. Now, it was during my time where there was an interdiction and a lot of people died along the way. Faults, yes, plenty. We have it. But it is not a policy of government to declare war against its own people. But I have to save my country. When I was elected as mayor, and you know from Davao, there are some military men here who used to be with the Air Force and working in Davao. They are now successful businessmen. They have retired, and I said we were in a very topsy-turvy thing. Davao was a lawless province, and the art of assassination by the sparrows, they called the assassination squad sparrows. They used to kill 2-3 policemen a day in my province, in my city. I was then a prosecutor. But because I was only a prosecutor, and my home ground was the court and the investigation. And in many cases, witnesses disappeared, kidnapped, or intimidated. And I would just, sadly, I would just say to the judge, people of the Philippines versus Juan de la Cruz. And the judge would say, prosecutor ready? And my usual response was that, no, Your Honor, because my witnesses were not notified or are dead. So many crimes committed under the guise of in the altar of drugs. And when I became mayor, I said, I am not a policeman. I am not a soldier. I am a mayor, and I'm trying to build a city. Do not destroy my city. Do not destroy the youth of the land, because I will kill you. Most of you have been there in Davao. Look at Davao now. It is the most peaceful. You can walk around freely. We have hit the economic growth, the highest in the Philippines, 9%. When I was mayor, it was only growing at 2%. I hope that my daughter, who is now the mayor, can maintain the momentum, the economic push for Davao City. You can go anywhere. You have been there. You have seen the place. It's clean. There are no thugs. There are no muggers on the streets. And people can walk around freely. And I restored back to them the use of the streets and the parks and public places. When I became president, I said, do not destroy the Philippines with drugs. I will kill you. Do not destroy the only worth of the Filipino, 98% are poor, and the money of 2% is in the pocket of the rich people. I was confronted with that problem. And you know, the market of Shabu, as I said, the poor. I will say that again. The rich use cocaine and everything, but not Shabu. The market of Shabu are the poor neighborhoods and communities because it's cheap. It's cheap to manufacture it, easy to distribute. And that is what is happening in the Philippines today. So if you are a citizen of this country, you saw every day hundreds thousand Filipinos. At the end of the year, they numbered 1,000,003. During the time of Arroyo, I said Santiago was the former general director at that time, and his back, being the chairman of the board of the drugs board, he gave a figure of 3 million. What is really very painful is that when those guys are invited, and you know that, when they get the invitation to come here in my country, it's only the communists out to disgrace the government and the human rights guys who are mostly also on the left. They only show the number of people killed, allegedly extrajudicial killing. They have not bothered to give the statistics that we have been in narco politics 6 years ago, although we did not realize it until I became a president. How many mayors, governors were involved? 40% of our barangays, that's the basic unit of the Philippines. The basic political entity starts with the barangay, then a municipality or city, province. They don't bother to show that there were thousands of victims of the drug menace and the crimes that they committed when the monkey rides on their back. When it starts to... And that is why you saw how many children, how many infants were raped. It was only during this time in my life as a Filipino that I saw plenty of 1-year-old, 3 months old. And you saw it with your own eyes killed, and everybody was just quiet. But I could not take it. As president, I said, my oath of office says, I have to protect the Filipino and preserve the Republic of the Philippines. So that's what I did. You don't like it? Fine. I said, but I will not allow my people to be brutalized by a chemical. I will not allow another millions of Filipinos being made as slaves to a drug. And that is what happened when the Westerners went to China to conquer it and gave them opium. It took several generations for the Chinese people to recover. There was even more, the 55 days at Peking. And that is really a problem. And I've told you, and you can check it out, the drug cartels now is being handled by the Bamboo Gang, the 14K. Sila na yung nag-take over. But as I have said, I have kept a distance to just satisfy people. Okay, I'll give it to PDEA. But if we start to charge the people there and just, then why is it that during your time, there are only poor people who die? Son of a... I said you should come here first before opening your mouth, because all people die because the market and the activity is in their communities. There's no such thing as a shabu being sold in Makati in the bars. It's ecstasy and heroin. But because of its price and hard to get, few people take it. And the rich, because of their education, more higher than the ordinary guy on the street, they have the sense of what is dangerous or what is not. Remember that in the siege, I said, of Marawi, it started with the implementation of a warrant to arrest a drug personality there. And when they went to the house to make the arrest, they were met doon sa bridge. Right there and then, all of the policemen died. And the 9 Marines who went there to help also died. On a day, I lost 16 soldiers and policemen. And that is why what pains me is, when you talk about extrajudicial killing, we are not really sure. If there is, I said, somebody is proud there, and nobody is a suspect, will say, oh, it's an extrajudicial killing. Why would the police do that? But I would admit that there are son of a bitches, policemen, who really, but there is a story behind. That teenagers can, you just wait until the trial begins. I have an information which I said I will not divulge. Let the trial proceed. Murder. And bring out. I told the policeman, you tell me the truth or I'll shoot you. What really happened? So sinabi niya, this is what really happened, sir. But there is story behind it. You know a person if he is into drugs. He's smelly, does not take a bath, does not sleep, and he keeps on grinding his teeth in front of you. So most of the addicts have lost all their teeth there. That's one indication. Yes, Mayor. Oh no, you are not using shabu. But they're eating their teeth at the same time. Now, there was this guy who appeared on TV. I do not want to attribute to any of the particular killings. But if you are there somehow with the network, review it, and you will see the father grinding his teeth. So that at that time I knew somehow there was a different story. But the sensationalism, that is why, when you only begin to count the dead, at least the evil ones, and forget to count the children killed and everything. I have to do this because I have to let you understand. It's being used against me every day. And yet, somebody said, I have retained the 86. Why? Because people know. Alam nila eh. Now, why is it that this SW survey gave me 67, which is still good? That's the lowest dip. Now here comes a survey of the Pulse Asia which says that I am hitting 86, 88. as of today as trustworthy. You know why? People, I was campaigning, I will stop corruption, I will stop drugs. They knew that I was hitting the target, and I was the only one carrying the message. That's why my margins over was, and I did not even expected to win actually. I got a margin of 6 million. Remember why the people still support me. It's because I am hitting it high on the A, B, C, D, E. The E and D, I thought all the while that I have lost their support. But the ones supporting me, actually the biggest number came because they know the problem. Alam nila that corruption and drugs and criminality has stymied our growth. Then I would say, I grieve for these poor guys. One sachet is 200 pesos. You take it every day. So that is 60 pesos less of their salaries if they are working. If not, and the fever strikes them, they go out and mug people, hold up here, hold up there, steal. Now, crime must be reduced by 36%. Why? Because they are out of the streets. Why? Because they think that they will be killed. Now, what I told the police was, go out and hunt for them. Arrest them if possible. Then if it is not possible, then you have to deal with the criminal. The law, our land says, our revised penal code is still what the Spaniards left us. Kaya mayroon ka dyan, reclusion perpetua, reclusion temporal. Those are Spanish words. But our procedure is American. Because we have been under the Spaniards and the Americans. Our laws are pretty mixed up. The fundamental crimes are defined in the revised penal code, which is really what was left to us by the Spaniards. And when the American came, they did not change anything. Common law crimes is what is there in their country. And gave us a procedure, court procedure, which is American. That is what we got from the colonizers. That is why we do not even know how to define extrajudicial killing. There is no such animal here. And other countries cannot force that term on us because we are a sovereign nation. We have a constitution. Now, extrajudicial killing is simply homicide or murder. Period. There's no such thing as an extrajudicial killing in this country. Because if you use that definition, then there will be less conviction and more acquittals. That is what ails the country. Now, at 60 pesos, in 1 month, that's 6,000. Times, never mind about my 1,300,000 figure. Let's go back to the old 3 million. Times about by how many? At the end of the year, it amounts to, I'm not good at arithmetic. It's about 216 billion industry dedicated to the misery and agony of the poor. That's what it is, actually. We have plenty of lawyers here. Diba? You make it count. So you say, why is it that poor people are being killed and slaughtered? Son of... It's easy. You know, there's a saying in English. It's not ours. Tagalog tayo eh. I do not have the translation, what it says. People judge best when they condemn. Yan ang mahirap yan. People judge best when they condemn. You are at your best element if you are putting somebody down. But me, whether it is really acceptable to the world or not, I will do what I have to do, and I will just follow the Constitution. I have never ordered the killing of anybody kneeling down or with his hands up. I said arrest them if it's possible. But if they refuse, then you have to overcome the refusal. Because the law says you have to make an arrest. You announce your presence. I am Sergeant Duterte. I am arresting you for possession of drugs. Please surrender peacefully. But as usual, I said, with so many of them with shrunk brains, they would always fight it out. So the law says you have to overcome the resistance because you have to place the person under arrest in the custody of the government. So you have to fight it out. You have to overcome the resistance and bring him to the judge issuing the warrant, or bring him to the station if there is no warrant, for record and for investigation. And if there is a resistance that would place the life of a peace officer, then he has the option to defend himself. Now you saw on TV how our policemen behaved. There was this drug addict caught on camera walking around the neighborhood with the knife. When the police came, I suppose you saw that. Napanood ba din yun? Tapos, sa TV, ABS-CBN, he started to threaten everybody and the policeman came, pointed his gun and said, surrender. The idiot never surrendered. He went directly to the policeman and started to, nakita ba niyo yun? And the policeman was trying to hold the knife. And so he had a slash wound here. And it was only when he fell down and the guy, the crazy, was trying to stab him that he fired 2 shots. That was the behavior of a peace officer in this land. Fortunately, it was caught on TV. Namin sabihin mo kay Kian, the minor, I'm not trying to attribute this to anybody. But let me ask you. Let me ask you one question. Why is it that in every arrest during the night, there is always a minor and a person of age? Why? Because this is the courier. This is the runner. According to our laws now, which was corrupted by one single honest person, I suppose it was not really malicious, but he tried to copy the Juvenile Offenders Act of the state of Washington and New York. Instead of below 9, above 9 below 12, above 12, below 16, and that is the intermediate. He made it straight 15. So these 15, 14 years old are the runners. He would just say, that man standing there needs resibo. He has paid already somewhere. Kaya useless yung mark money. It's not. They either just deposit it in your bank and they would collect every night. And the distribution is done by the minors. Once a minor is caught, that very moment when they said, I'm a minor, or they sport around, they go out with a certificate of their birth. Yep, I'm a minor. If there is one single person, maybe that with malice, that destroyed and promoted criminality in this country, is Senator Pangilinan. Kaya ayaw ko namang, the last time he ran, I really wanted to blast him. But you know, I have a daughter who is now the mayor of Davao City. When she was about 14, 15, she was the only girl at that time. I have my second family and have a second daughter. Different mothers, if you want to. I'm separated. I'm annulled from my first wife. I said, anak, said, child, what do you want for your birthday? I said, I want to have dinner with their idol, a singer, Sharon Cuneta, the wife of Pangilinan. So I called Pangilinan and said, can I invite you and your wife for dinner? Because that is what my daughter wants during her birthday. So I was almost all the years just trying to, but you know, when I became president and I became sometimes the butt of his criticism, so, do not blame me, blame it to you. Once the child would say that is a minor, or the mother or the father would come to fetch them from, they go out immediately that night, however serious the crime may be. It could be stealing, robbery with rape, with homicide, or rape with killing. They go scot-free. There's no such thing as they're brought to a judge. It's a vacuum created by Pangilinan. There's not even a sense, even for a minute, that he would sit there in the police station and lectured upon on this sense of accountability or to account being responsible for an act. The right thing Pangilinan should have done was, if there was this radical change in law, at least he could have a colatilia or a condition provided that in cities and provinces there ought to be correctional facilities or halfway houses where the children are brought there and lectured upon of his role in the society, the sense of accountability in his character, and the duty of being responsible for the community. That is a reality. No need for me to expound it. Use it every day. And even your employees and even your neighbors, even your stores, I'm sure you have encountered it. And there's a stealing and say, as a minor, what can we do? Let him go. I'm sure your store, by this time, it has been there for 9 years, I think, 8 years. So we have this generation of Filipinos who go in and out every day and they think that society owes them something, and they ought not to be punished because they grew up with that kind of setup. That is how the reality on the ground. I have to tell you, because you are businessmen, and I said, of course, as I said, I hold it as an article of faith, that no, why the topsy-turvy society. I don't know about the drugs. Have they increased? Or is it a decrease? And there are 100 million Filipinos, and remember, there's only one agency now, Expo, with 2,000 agents. Would it help? I don't know. Would it somehow decrease the criminality? I really don't know. But when the time comes, when we all suffer again, then I would call the human rights and everybody who passed by this country to criticize. And I would tell her, come here and solve the problem for us. Or if you want, you can send your soldiers and policemen. You can even send one shipload of soldiers. Come here, come back here, solve the problem. And you know that that is the real story. All of you know. Some of you lawyers, you know that. But nobody is expressing it, my outrage. But what is really very painful to me, I don't care if you think that it's a pretended sympathy or sentiment. You know, there are a lot, 2 million Filipinos out there, some, or most of them in the Middle East. And that is why I was very careful. That's why it took us 3 months. Because I did not allow the army to bomb the shrines and the mosque. And I said, remember that there are 2 million Filipinos spread all over the world. And some of them, or most of them, are deployed in Muslim countries. Do not do a precipitate thing that would place them in jeopardy. That's why we tried to just sneak out, but to no avail. I've lost Army 157. And that is why when they try to criticize the raids and everything, they cheapen the lives of the people who lost fighting the drug war. Kaya ako nasasaktan. Kaya I use foul mouth. I am a very, you know that, I am a very courteous person. You know, it is maybe because you are rich and I am poor. It's something like that. Yeah, you have to defer to people with power and money. I've always been courteous to you. But what prompted me to use the insults was just to, I said, express my outrage. One, I said, you are idiots. You are an ignoramus. You are not talking sense. And get out of this country because you are playing games with us. Now, if you really want to help the Philippines, if you are a foreigner, look at it as a social problem. Again, I would say, bakit namatay? Why are these all dead? Ask why. Then there is history for that. That there are mayors, they are, by the way, most of them died. because they killed their own policemen who did not follow them, like Paraino. And look at his house. Nakita niyo sa TV. It was shown on TV. Okay. What was the wallpaper of the house of the son? It was 500 pesos pasted on the wall as wallpaper. You see how obscene the war is? You cheapen our value as a Filipino when you start to mumble there and mumble here. Try to investigate why. Do not take the figures of those who died, because most of them died in gun battles. Now, are there extrajudicial killings? Yes. And that is why from the day I saw the TV, I ordered the police to detain the 3 policemen until today and are facing charges of murder. We do not, only when your life is in danger, then you have 2 things with you. One is the presumption of regularity in the performance of your duty. Second is that you have to kill him because you are in the performance of your duty and self-defense. You need not die just to arrest that is not needed. If you have to save your life for your family and children. Another thing is that those Filipinas, most of them are domestic helpers. They go out, sometimes there are allegations of rape and brutality. I went to a certain country because the Filipinas, they were arrested for distributing rosaries. And since they were from my city, and they were there almost every morning crying, my wife said, why don't you do something about it? For after all, your grandmother was a Muslim. My grandfather was a Chinese. I hope he's not occupying our land there in the South Pacific. Because I am already a Filipino. So I went there, and King Fahd was about, not really office rockers, but he could hardly communicate. But he understood our plight. But the chief minister told me to talk to, and he said, in the Arab culture, in some areas, not all Arabs, I repeat, not all Arabs, if you are there working unpaid or bought from the slave markets of Africa, sexual abuse is just an ordinary thing. That's why some of them one committed suicide. So about yesterday or 4 days ago. And plenty. They jump off from buildings and windows. And you have heard how many. I'd like to be frank with you. Look at my eyes. What is the most common complaint? What was the cry? What was the agony? That they work until the wee hours of the morning. They sleep 3 to 4 hours only and eat garbage, the leftovers. Then they are being used by the husband, used by the son, and sometimes used by the brother-in-law and the nephews. And I can understand why they commit suicide. You know, I hope the Western things should stop there. They don't understand that, you know, when you have a son addicted to drugs, the family is already dysfunctional. Because they steal everything from the house, pati yung kotse, pagbibili. It's the usual thing. Then, if the wife goes out there to work, and there is no mother and wife in that family, it becomes dysfunctional. If the husband and wife, which is usually what happens, go out, the other one in one country, the other in another country, then the children are left with the grandparents and the sisters. It is totally a dysfunctional family. And the drug people, because they are in the neighborhoods. If they are rich, then they would not have to go to. They watch who are with money. And they know that the children of the OFW have regular remittances. That is why they would just steal them and tempt them. And eventually, they get into the habit. Now, what is my complaint? My complaint is, the mother goes out, endures the hours of working, eating garbage, working their backs to death, just to be able to send money so that they are poor, but their children can study and hope that someday they would have improved their lives. Yan ang masakit sa akin. I can kill you for that, actually. The suffering, lack of sleep, lack of food, they send the money all here only to be eaten by the drugs and the goods. And that is my agony too. And to my sorrow, because I am a president of a poor country. I never really is killing people. I don't want to kill people. I have children. I do not want other people killing my children. I want not that stuff of violence. But given the situation, sometimes you lose your humanity and begin to act like a criminal. You are put in a situation where I have to take care of 110 million Filipinos. 98% are really poor. Do not force me into it, because I will do it. Just like Mara, how many days before I said, do not force my hand into it, because there was already a brewing trouble. But please do not tempt me to do it. But when the time came, I declared martial law. And so everybody was asking, when will it stop? It will not stop until the last terrorist is taken out. They are still at it. Now, the order, yung sabi nila, si Doc, yung tatlan, Hapilon, tapos yung Doc, I think he's an Arab, he was taken this afternoon. And that completes the story. No drug. Drug is one. Well, let us talk of government. Have you eaten your dinner? Not yet? No, it's about 8:30. Am I correct? Give me another 30 minutes. Dinner at 9. Corruption. Did I tell you I do not like corruption? I just fired the undersecretary of DBM, Office of the Budget. I was lucky because there were so many people. I wanted to slap him. I even stood up to wanted to keep him in the face. fired him for corruption. The other week, 3 employees of my officer, influence peddling. Of course, not with the money, but this one is tinkering with the money of. I told you, stop. STOP. And I'm addressing myself. I'm better off with the. At least one thing good about the military is when you say you stop, and everything stops. The police, but I said, you never find sanctuary in me. Just follow the law. But if you kill people almost on bended knees with the hands raised, and you do this thing for what? Who gave you the right to do it? Anyway. But somehow, I said, I suppose that the revenue guys do not bother you anymore. The feedback is no more. Wala na po. So at least the customs no more. Okay? Okay. So, these are the people I want really to kill. But I cannot kill because I am a shy guy. I do not want to answer publicly about these idiots. If you're not satisfied with the income, then you better go. Now, the next thing is that I know that on the national level, the executive department, there are 3 separate and independent of each other. The executive department, which is headed only by the president. Then the Congress, there are 2 houses there. The Senate, which is headed by Pimentel, and the House, which is headed by Alvarez, the Speaker of the House. Then the judiciary. There's not much I can do here. But you can report. You can report to me. That is why I'm against the Ombudsman and Serino. She has done a lot of things not really in accordance with law. You might want to take notice of the fact that, every election we have a new set of officials. And the plate number 1 is for me. I do not use it. I use the ordinary number. The number 2 plate is for the Vice President. I don't know if Robredo is using it. Then the 3 is for the Senate President, the 4 is the Speaker. The 5th, I think, is the Chief Justice. The 6 are cabinet members. It is only the cabinet members of the executive department under me. They are not allowed to use the number 6. It is an elitist thing, and it looks corny to me. Bisaya, hilasan ko. And I forbade there are also, some of them are rich really actually, but I said, do not use your Mercedes-Benz and your expensive cars here. You buy the Vios or who are the car manufacturers? I mentioned your cheap product. They are not allowed to strut around in my office. I do not like it. No special people. They go around the country. They use economy. Do not take the first class mabuhay. But sometimes, because of their visa, they are requested to. There's somebody from the airlines who would request them, sir, transfer to out of, I leave it to you, but better still, if you really want it, use your own money and pay. But never allow the office, your secretary, to get a ticket for you because you're going to Davao on the first class. Do not do that because I will look into the purchase how much was the ticket. Use only. Why? Because it's not our money. It's your money. May you have your own income. You can use your own plane. I'm not rich, but neither am I poor. But I'd like to just do something during my term. I've always believed that what was really pulling down the country was corruption. A lot of many investors shied away because right at the start. And I said to my, NEDA, famous for delays. We applied for a small-time commuter train in Davao. By the grace of God, that was applied during the mayorship days. It's still there. And I said, just because we are China, the ambassador, Pastor Xiao, thank you. Building a Mindanao Railway, and I think it's on a long term, it's almost payable in 30 years. It's almost a lifetime. I've stopped asking the new investments. The problem remains with the local governments. When I was mayor, 3 days. Never had no computer. 3 days. Then the permit should be out on the 3rd day. The NEDA, it's about 2 or 3 years, are only given 1 month. Every cabinet, every department is limited to 1 month. Either you report it out, deny it, or you report it out favorably. But 1 month is the longest that you can hold to the people. The longer you sit on it, then the lure of it's a subliminal thing. You pay, and it will be faster. We have one company here, a French company is supposed to build the railway, that portion crossing San Juan. And the papers there in that office, Pasig River Commission, was there for about 1 year. And so I said, you're fired. The two of you, you're fired. And today I fired the undersecretary. And if there's anything that you want me to do to improve business and earn more and pay more, do not cheat me on the taxes. It's okay if you're delayed. Sometimes the momentum it goes up, you go down. And if you are hard up, just ask Sonny Dominguez. He's a very reasonable man. Sonny Dominguez, by the way, your old businessman, was my childhood friend. He was our consistent valedictorian since kindergarten. Up to college. Valedictorian, bright talaga. And so Bon, is a brilliant guy. Tugade, do not doubt him. He was our valedictorian in the Luz School. And he's already a millionaire now. He will not need your money. Most of them are really rich. Most of them, Vit Aguirre was magna cum laude. My classmate. I'm the only one who have not received any Baskiyod Tansan. Even the bottle cup of a soft drink would have been fine for me. But for the life of me, totoo, I've never received any. I traveled the range of 75 to 80. Not even 80, 75 to 79. Because I was thinking, what would I need for 85 to 90? When you have the 87 and 77, 78, you go up together with the rest of the guys. Of course, you are not the valedictorian, so so-and-so, who needs to be valedictorian, study every night. The 78, 75, all the way, all the way. And most of the guys, the brilliant guys here, the valedictorians and salutatorians, and my defense chief, he was a valedictorian. Si Delfen Lorenzana, valedictorian yan. And he was a top gun of his class also. He was a valedictorian during these days Philippine Military Academy. They are all good. And I, on the average of 77, is their boss. How to study, how not to study but succeed in life. That's the secret of... I don't know what brought me to the presidency, really. I never got, even during the debates, I was the only one, during the intermissions. You have noticed that. I was the only one with no political ads. Well, I didn't have the money. So I was 4-3-3-4, 3-4, 4-3. But somebody said, you will win. Alam mo kung sino to say that? Yung taga-Bagyo na healer, yung psychic, lahat pasyente niya. Kaya kita siya, mananalo ka. And I remember when his son died, si Ray Langit, he is a television personality. It was in 2002 that his son died. But that son of his, I met him several times. He told his father that mayor will be president someday. So when I saw him last night, he repeated the encounter. I said, well, he must have something to do with destiny. On the last, I would like to officially thank the People's Republic of China for their help. We bought some arms from, I think it's Sig Sauer is a European company but doing business in America. But it was blocked by Congress for, they said it's human rights violations. The problem with these guys, I said, they do not come and bother to study and to investigate. There are many investigative journalists all around the world. So we were left with no arms to use. And I was already thinking of the trouble way ahead. I was projecting the drug war and the terrorism. As a matter of fact, and I hope I would not offend anybody in the police and the military, during the first command conference as president, they were all discussing about the various crimes. And after that, I said, I have noticed that nobody was talking about terrorism. And I started to talk about it. And I see it in the horizon. The dark clouds in the horizon says that it's coming. And on the dot, it came. So, but we had left with less arms. China offered to help. They supplied us with the Chinese sniper rifles. and the M4 Armalite lookalike. And it was good. And I would like to officially inform you, Ambassador Xiao, that the rifle that killed Hapilon was a sniper rifle made in China. Reciprocity. The two guys, Hapilon and they were standing. They could hit a target a kilometer away. I mean, if you are just that big, with the magnification there, they were hit. They were not. There was no armed encounter. It was, and most of my soldiers and policemen died also because of this knife gun. It's now a question of equipments. Now it's not the time for so many armies. If you have one battalion and then you are all sharpshooters and everything, and if you have the weapons and the equipment, then I would need them in the coming days. There's a new one, and I know China has it. Your telescope, even if you're a mile away, you will hit the target, and your scope, and there is a equipment there that would send it to the Wi-Fi, and the Wi-Fi would broadcast it all around the world during the actual shoot. I have not asked China to give it to us, but with your help tonight to convince them, I would need. You can really see it, and they have this. If you fire, that would be needed. For example, in Marawi, there's a wide screen there. And if you don't even see, it's just a sort of a playback, the background. And if there's a fire there, it will locate the target where. So they will know that it is in that building. We do not have it, I think. And also, I would like to officially thank the United States and Israel for helping us. But the bulk of the plane loads, almost 2 deliveries, 4 plane loads of rifles, and I said we are a bit ready now. Putin is also, President Putin is a good friend. Maybe tomorrow, but I think they have unloaded the assault rifles already. But I will board the ship that carried it to the Philippines next week. But said it's about, it was only China who gave it on time. And plenty. Plenty. So we had a good so I said, the countries help us. China, we needed it badly. You gave it to us. Thank you very much. And President Xi Jinping. And of course, the Americans just provided we just borrowed it. We have returned it already. They are not willing to give it to us, unlike China. No payment. The Israel allowed it to be used by us also. Because the thought of helping us was something that was useful to the community of the world. So that is what it is. If there is any thing that you do not want in the present government now, the customs is really that strict. I am very sorry, but we have to avoid the incident of Shabu getting passed. And I know the used to be with Pidea. She said La Peña used to be my chief of police for the longest time, and I trust him. He's really very honest. I've been my chief of police, an honest man. I would know that he would do a great service to our country. The others, mahirap nga eh. It's very hard to get an honest man. But to eat honestly, really, when you are hungry, is also something which you would have.
Thank you, Mr. President. Please remain on stage for the photo opportunity. And may I call the first batch, will be composed of the 2017 PCCI Board of Directors and Officers. Please be on stage for the first batch of the photo ops. For the second batch, please get ready. The regional governors, presidents of the local chambers,